Sopranos actress Jamie-Lynn Sigler revealed to People magazine she's been battling multiple sclerosis, or MS. The 34-year-old says she's been fighting the disease for 15 years, and she doesn't want to be ashamed anymore. She revealed because of the disease, she can't run or walk for a long period of time without resting. And according to the National MS Society, the disease affects more than 2 million people worldwide. Dr. Roshini Raj joins me, who's an associate professor of medicine at NYU's Langone Medical Center. It's great to see you today, Dr. Raj.
Thank you.
When we're talking about MS, it's an autoimmune disorder.
Correct.
How do people get diagnosed with it?
So it's an autoimmune disorder where your body is really attacking the myelin sheaths. These are the protective coverings of your nerves. And you can imagine if those are not functioning properly, the nerves can get damaged, the communication between your brain and your nerves and muscles are not working properly. So you can have symptoms such as leg weakness, numbness, tingling, symptoms throughout the body. You can have trouble with your vision. Often the diagnosis is made on a clinical basis, meaning you're having those symptoms, but MRIs of the brain can also be very suggestive of MS.
Is there any one test that they go in and they do the blood test and yes, you have it, or no, you don't have it?
Unfortunately, no. There's not one particular test that's absolutely definitive. There are blood tests that are suggestive, and again, brain scans can also be very suggestive, but you usually have to kind of compile all the data together, and that creates a clinical picture which would suggest MS.
What we heard from Jamie-Lynn is that she can't run or stand for long periods of time without resting.
Yes.
But this disorder goes even further. Some people can't stand, walk at all.
That's correct. And it's often relapsing and remitting, so you'll have periods where you have very severe symptoms and possibly leg weakness to the point that you can't walk, and then you get better for a bit. And then other people have the more progressive form of MS, where it just gradually gets worse and worse, and eventually many people unfortunately can't walk.
How is it treated?
There are many treatments that really help modulate the immune system, because this is a disease of your immune system. Sometimes steroids are used, other medications. Just recently this week there was a stem cell treatment, still very experimental, but used in England, that had some great results.
But a cure?
Again, the stem cell treatment is probably the closest thing where they're talking about a cure, because it actually caused some regression of the disease, which is fantastic, but still very experimental. Really, too soon to say if there's going to be a cure. Right now, there is no cure, just medications that help manage the disease.
Like so many autoimmune disorders, there's a question about what's the link to food. And I saw a really interesting TED Talk from Dr. Terry Walls, who herself was diagnosed with MS, and she's the assistant chief of staff at the Iowa Veterans Affairs Medical Center. She ended up being confined to a wheelchair, could not walk at all, and decided to overhaul her diet entirely. And specifically, she said she was trying to fill 3 dinner plates per day with fruits and vegetables of these really deep colors.
Yes.
Here's what she said once she was able to see a change in her symptoms.
We have a choice. We can continue to eat that delicious, convenient, tasty, processed food and watch ourselves and our children grow steadily more overweight, depressed, and diabetic. Or we can eat for our mitochondria, eating vegetables and berries, grass-fed meat, organ meat, and seaweed, and have more vitality.
She, after 5 months, started riding her bicycle again. She's up to riding long distances. She says she's now symptom-free.
Yeah.
Does it make sense for people who get diagnosed with multiple sclerosis to try this approach?
Well, there have been some small studies that suggest reducing saturated fat, increasing omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids with things like olive oil or fish oil. That does show some success with some people with MS. There's small studies. I think it's too soon to prescribe an MS diet, for example. However, the diet that she's talking about, rich in plant-based, protein and vegetables and fruits and berries, that's great for all of us and probably will help with overall body inflammation. Specifically for MS, I think it's too soon to say.
Okay, one more question for you.
Sure.
If there's, and we know that people who have one autoimmune disorder are more likely to get diagnosed or develop another one.
Right.
Is there a way to prevent acquiring another autoimmune disorder?
Unfortunately, with many autoimmune disorders, we don't know exactly what triggers it. And so if you have one, we really don't know if there's a way to prevent another one. I do think a healthy diet, exercise, maintaining stress, all of those things will probably help prevent you from either having a worsening of your current disease or getting another one, but there's still no guarantee.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raj. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.